So I want to start by saying this, man. I appreciate everybody being in the joint for one thing. Secondly, let me say this. If you want to be a member of this live chat, go to the main channel page. Next to the subscribe button, you'll see a join button. Click that join button and come on back in and chill with us, man. Now, I want to say this, man. There was a point in my life where I tried to get along with people. I won't say I tried to go along to get along, but I did try to get along with people. I put forth an effort to get along with people. And then one day I woke up and I realized that any relationship I had to put effort into just to make it be a relationship. Yes, relationships takes effort. Everything in life takes effort. But when you have to put effort into a relationship for it to even sustain as a relationship on the base level, you are forcing a relationship in your life. And let me tell you one thing that always does. That represents a bad relationship, and bad relationships always negatively impact your lives. So today we're going to discuss 10 mentally disturbing reasons we force bad relationships that negatively impact our lives. So let's get into it. The first thing is we can't seem to determine when people want too much. See, when you're a giving person, what happens when you're a giving person is you're just in give mode all the time. And when you're in give mode all the time, it's because you're blessed. And when you're blessed, it's easy to turn a blind eye to the fact that people are not giving you anything back. Because people that are in take mode are just like people in give mode. It's just the opposite side of the coin. When you're in give mode, you give all the time without even being concerned with the fact that you're not getting anything in return. Well, when someone's in take mode, they take all the time without any consideration that they should be giving anything in return. And so we force those relationships that, of course, negatively impact your lives. People who give frivolously and with finances, it's just like spending money frivolously. If you give money to everyone who's asking and people can just come to you whether they need it or not, and you just always say yes, you're like someone who has a gambling problem because you're giving the money away and you're not going to get it back. And the little bit you do get back is never going to compensate for what you've lost. And that's one of the things we do. Like people want too much love. Like when people lack self-love, they need an outpouring of love that's never ending, brothers. I want you to put a one in the chat, man, if you ever dealt with somebody who just needed too much love. You know what, man? I'm gonna give y'all a reward, man. Everybody's listening. I'm gonna give y'all a reward. I make this for subscribers only, but we ain't gonna play no games. You have to be subscribed for at least. Let's go. You have to be subscribed. You have to have been subscribed for at least 24 hours. You can't just click subscribe and come in here. But let's do it. I know it's been a minute since I came in here on the live one, man. So we'll make this subscribers only. Hopefully, the members don't have a problem with that. We won't be doing this on the next show, but we'll do it on this one. We're back in stride again. But people who need an outpouring of love all the time is because they don't love themselves. Like when you love yourself, you need very minimal love from other people. People call you standoffish, they call you a lot of things, but in reality, you're just someone who loves yourself. So you don't need an outpouring of love from other people because you give yourself so much love that you start to compare your love for self to other people's love. And a lot of times their love don't even measure up as love. It don't even register on the love scale in your life because your love for yourself is unconditional. The only unconditional love you're ever going to get is from yourself. And those people don't have unconditional love for themselves. So they don't understand that you can't give them unconditional love. They expect unconditional love from you. And let me tell you something right now. Anyone who expects unconditional love from you is delusional and they're confused. And you're going to get yourself caught up in a situation that's going to affect your life in a negative manner because you can't love them unconditionally, but they'll always put the burden on you, and they'll always give you disappointment and always give you, confusion, and always give you all of these different things they're feeling because you don't love them unconditionally. Well, here's the thing. No one on the planet has to accept another person's flaws except that person. No one else has to accept the person's shortcomings except that person. No one else has to be okay with you being exactly who you are 100% in every aspect of your life except you. And people who don't have that, they are an emotional burden to those people that they are fortunate enough to interact with. And the flip side is those people they interact with are unfortunate to be interacting with them. Also, people who need too much support, like people who can't muster self-support, people who can't muster self-motivation, people who can't muster the motivation that it takes to get up and go hard at what you want to do every day. They need support on everything. Sometimes that support is financial. Financial support is something that you have for your offspring, for your dependents. You're not obligated to have financial support for other people. These are adults. They have the same 24 hours in every day that you have, but we force these relationships because we feel what? The term is obligated. We feel an obligation to allow ourselves to be used as a human piggy bank to other people. That's what we feel. We put ourselves in a position where we feel like because we're blessed, that our blessing needs to be shared with everyone. That's not why God gave you the blessing. He gave you the blessing for what you do, for who you are. Yes, we all give, but to make yourself responsible for someone, it's a heavy burden. And you think about, you find yourself ending up paying people to stay in relationships with you. One day you wake up and you realize and you know when you realize it? You realize when you don't give them something, how they respond. When someone responds negatively because you didn't give them something financial, that person was only with you for the financial benefit of it. It doesn't matter who that person is. It can be your child. It can be your mom. It can be your spouse. It could be your family member. It could be your friend. It could be your community. Whoever it is, if they act differently with you when you tell them no than they do when you tell them yes, now everybody's going to be a little bit disappointed to hear a no. No is something that disappoints human beings because we don't tell ourselves no enough. You know what I mean? When you know you're overweight and you see a piece of cake, you can't tell yourself no. When you know you have a problem and you're going over there to that substance, you can't tell yourself no. When you know you're going to a spot that's probably going to get you in trouble and you go anyway, you can't tell yourself no. So when you can't tell yourself no, it's hard for you to receive no's from other people. And that's the majority of people on the planet, to be honest with you. This is the majority of people in this society for sure. But they change on you. And that's your indication at that very moment that they only value you for what you do for them. Period. And at that very moment, I find that out about someone, I cut them loose. Why? Now, I don't necessarily even stop dealing with them, but whatever I was doing for them financially, it's done. It's done because you don't get to use me. You don't get to reap the benefits of me and then not even show basic appreciation for it. So that's one of the first relationships that we learn to cut off. That's one of the first relationships that we learn to separate ourselves from and stop trying to force. When you got to pay someone to be with you or pay someone to be around you or pay someone to interact with you positively, that is a relationship you're forcing. You're forcing that relationship in your life. Also, people who need too much sympathy. Listen, we all go through things. I can look at you and I can sympathize with your plight, but don't keep running the same game back to me all the time. I can sympathize with what you went through now, but in 6 months, don't come to me with that same thing, talking about what you went through now 6 months ago. I don't want to hear it. If you go through something today, hey man, you got to get over, you got to get through it. 6 months later, I don't want to hear you talking about the things that you went through in 6 months ago, because what have you done to change that? You should be far enough away from it now where you're looking at it as a distant memory and not complaining about it, where you're looking at it saying, man, look where I was 6 months ago. Look where I am now. We should be celebrating that you made it through. That's what we should be doing. We shouldn't be singing, woe is me. We should be saying, never should have made it. That's what we should be singing. We should be singing a song of praise for the Most High. We should be singing a song of glory for your accomplishment. We should be singing a song of positivity because you've made the moves. But People don't do that. They want sympathy all the time. They can't pay a bill. They want sympathy. They're going through something with family. They want sympathy. They sick. They want sympathy. They well. They want sympathy. Problem with the church. They want sympathy. Problem with a friend. They want sympathy. If you're gonna be sympathetic all the time like that, man, if you're gonna be sympathetic, then you take the SYM off and you're just pathetic. If you're sympathetic all the time, you're not sympathetic, you're just pathetic. We don't have time to live our lives that way. The second reason that we force these bad relationships that negatively impact our lives is people give too little. They want too much and give too little. They give too little appreciation. Man, let me tell y'all something. It's a travesty in this society how those of us who have good hearts and good spirits and look out for people, how we just accept being underappreciated. We accept people not appreciating us for the things we do. We just brush it under the rug and be like, well, you don't have to appreciate me. You know, God got me and God. No, man. God didn't put you here to deal with people who don't appreciate you. People who don't appreciate you, you got to learn to cut those relationships off because those are relationships you're forcing. If people don't even appreciate your presence in their lives, they don't want you around. So you're around people who don't even like you, people who don't even appreciate you, people who don't even understand the value you have in their lives, or even worse, they do understand it and they just don't care. You're forcing those relationships. This is how we get to the point where our circle gets so small because we start to learn these lessons and we start to understand the reality of these relationships that we're forcing in our lives. And listen, a lot of times you develop an emotional attachment or at the very least an emotional connection to these people, and it's hard to let them go. But you have to understand one thing: whatever you think they feel for you isn't real, because guess what? You understand. You understand love because you love yourself. So you understand when what they're selling you as love isn't love. You understand when what they're selling you as appreciation isn't appreciation. You understand if what they're selling you as dedication is not dedication. And it's time to make the adjustments once you understand that. People don't give enough respect. And here's the problem. If people don't respect themselves, they can't respect you. Respect and love are the same in that way. If they don't love themselves, they can't love you. If they don't respect themselves, they can't respect you. Love and respect start with self. Love, respect, and appreciation. All three start with self. Those are the top three things that start with self. There's a bunch of them. There's probably about 10 things, 10 character traits, 10 human qualities that we all strive to have that start with self. If you can't do them with yourself, you can't do them with other people. And appreciation and respect are the main two. Appreciation, well, love, appreciation, and respect. We've already covered love, but appreciation, people don't show enough respect, man. You ever seen two people arguing and they saying all type of foul things to each other? Now, one of those persons respects the other, and they're just responding with the same energy. They got lured into a situation, they got drawn into this war of words, so whatever they're having at that particular time. But one of those people they don't have any respect for the other. And when it comes to respect, man, self-respect is a major thing, brother. And a lot of time people think they respect themselves, but how you respect yourself when you treat yourself poorly? Simple things. If you know you grind hard, if you don't get enough sleep, you don't respect yourself. You don't even appreciate yourself. You don't love yourself. Sometimes disrespect is not a verbal thing. Sometimes disrespect is an action. Someone who steals from you, they don't respect you. Someone who presents themselves in a way that's not true to their authentic selves, man, they don't respect you. They think you're a fool. Anyone who tried to play you for a fool is disrespectful, dog. Treating you like a fool, treating you like an idiot, treating you like someone who doesn't have common sense is disrespectful. One of the most disrespectful things you could do is play with someone's intelligence, question someone's intellect, try to create a caricature of someone's common sense being. And another thing that people give too little of is honesty. People lie, man. I mean, people lie about the simplest things. It's better to plead the fifth than just tell somebody a blatant lie. Plead the fifth. Say you don't know. Say, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Get upset that they even asking. Man, I don't even know why you asking me that. Why ask me nothing like that? At least you're not lying. You're just avoiding the question. I'd rather you avoid the question than tell me a lie. But people aren't honest enough. Why? Because everyone has the number 3 thing that we overlook. The number 3 mentally disturbing reason that we force bad relationships is because people have ulterior motives that they don't disclose. It's called ulterior for a reason. That is the true reason that they're with you. The true reason that they want to be around you, the true benefit they see from the relationship. And it's ulterior because they know if they put it on the table from the beginning, you would know they were using you. Think about how many men have been in relationships and realized that they were only in a relationship with the woman because she wanted money. Think about how many employers find out they had only employed this person, no matter how great they were, because this person lied on their application. Think about how many people are stuck in a job because when they first went there, they told them it would be an opportunity for growth. They've been there 10 years and been skipped over for 3 promotions already. Yeah, there's an opportunity for growth, but they didn't tell you that that opportunity wasn't going to be for you. You see other people growing, so they didn't technically lie, but they weren't all the way honest either. Ulterior motives. This chat is always subscribers only and members only, mostly members only, every now and then subscribers only, like it is right now, for a reason. Because people come to places like this with positive energy with an ulterior motive. They come, they jump in the chat, they say something, and then they go left. And I said, you know what? Yes, I have a couple of moderators, but my moderators come in here. They don't come in here to patrol the chat. They come in here to share in the good word, to spread the good word in the chat too. So I want y'all to understand that most people are going to have an ulterior motive for why they want to deal with you. And I mean, listen, it's not a bad thing. It's just a true thing. Most people are going to have an ulterior motive for the way they want to deal with you, for the reason they want to deal with you. There's really not a lot we can do about it. We just have to understand that. And once you find out what they have, it doesn't even matter what the ulterior motive is. Having an ulterior motive represents that you can't be trusted. It represents you can't be trusted. You'll meet someone and they'll portray themselves as something they're not, and then on the back end you realize that you're tied in financially, or you're tied in emotionally, or you're tied in mentally, or you're tied in physically. Some kind of way you're tied in, brothers. And I want y'all to understand, we have to protect ourselves from these bad relationships because they're going to destroy you. They're going to destroy you. None of us is strong enough to withstand the catastrophic blow, the cataclysmic force of consistently adding bad relationships to our lives and forcing them into our lives where we know they don't fit. We can't overcome it. The number 4 reason that we force bad relationships is because we don't know people have a hatred for success until we become successful. You surround yourself with people who aren't successful, and you're not successful yet, but you're on your way, right? They don't understand why you're not really around all the time because you're on your way. You're working, you're doing things. They're going out every weekend. You're going out every blue moon. Special occasion. Maybe they get you out on New Year's Eve, or maybe they get you out on, somebody's somebody graduates, or somebody does. Maybe they get you out on special occasions, maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times a year, but they're out all the time. And then suddenly they see what you've been doing. Because by the time you come around with a brand new ride, you've been grinding for so long, they think their mindset is, okay, you have this ride because you just got the money to get it. You've been stacking up and grinding for 2-3 years now. This ride is just something you paying yourself off to because you finally got to your first goal. And now this just a flash in the pan. It's probably a company write-off. You probably bought this through your business. They don't understand that though. But here's the problem. At that point, you realize that they hate your success. And see, let me tell you something. Don't ever take it personal when people hate your success. They don't hate your success. They hate any success. It just so happened that you happen to be someone from their circle who has it, so it's always in their face. They got to see it all the time. And here's the problem, man. We then try to dumb our success down as to not make people feel bad about themselves or worse about themselves. And this ain't even about materialistic things. It's about we start trying to force ourselves to hang out more or be around more or be available more or talk more or all of these things when that's not a part of our mission. When people have a hatred for success, the very moment you see it, you need to flee the scene because hatred for success makes success go away. Success doesn't come around hatred for itself. Think about you. Put a one in the chat and tell me the last time you went and hung out with some people you knew for a fact hated you. Tell me when the last time you tried to go befriend and hang out with people and become partners with people that you know for a fact hated your guts. When your presence came, whenever you showed up, they just got into the foulest mood, the foulest, most negative mood ever. Put a one in the chat and tell me when you showed up to that. So what make you think success gonna show up to it? If you ain't showed up to it, what make you think success gonna show up to it? Everything in this world is about energy. So the energy of success is not gonna come around the energy of failure. And you have to be a failure if you hate success. You have to be. Like if you hate success, you're not gonna go around success. So you're an automatic failure. You have to avoid those people. And remember, it doesn't show up until you come up. So that's why you can't get too tied into people and make these strong relationships unless people prove to you that they're loyal. That's the thing. People have to prove their loyalty to you. Once they prove their loyalty to you and that it has no boundaries, that just money doesn't change their loyalty. Fame doesn't change their loyalty, whether you have it or they have it. That's why you see some guys. That's why you see Jay-Z, you see Memphis Bleak still with Jay. You see Yayo still with 50. You see Shaka Zulu still with Ludacris. You see Big Country and all those guys still with Tip. This is what happens, man. And you see Moon still with P. You have to only deal with people who have proven that they can be loyal through all sorts of different situations and circumstances. The number 5 mentally disturbing reason that we force bad relationships that negatively impact our lives is when we're focused on moving forward, it's hard to focus on who's just riding your coattail. See, when you come around and you're motivated, everybody seems motivated because you bring that positive energy around. And people are, they talking. When you come talking the talk and walking the walk, then they talk the talk too. They feel it, man. They like, yeah, man, let's get it. Yeah, we can do it. But you got to look at their lives. What are they doing with their lives? What are they doing with their lives? What are they doing to improve their plight in life? What are they doing to move forward toward their goals? What are they doing to improve their knowledge and improve their wealth, improving whatever they need to improve in order to grow in life? How are they improving themselves spiritually? How are they improving themselves mentally, emotionally? If they have issues, are they getting those issues taken care of? How are they improving themselves physically? If they was having health problems, did they turn their life around? Are they eating clean? Are they exercising? Are they eliminating stress? Are they doing all of these things now? Are they doing these things? Because you have to understand, when people are unmotivated, all they can do is ride your coattail. People who are unmotivated exist solely to ride someone's coattail. And if they're in your circle, that coattail is going to be yours. And you got to ask yourself, man, why am I allowing these people to ride my coattail like this? Like, it's one thing to have people around that are contributing something to the growth, and so they get to take the ride with you. But people who are just around to ride coattails, man, they're dead weight. And that's one of the main reasons. That's one of the major relationship detriments that we have in our lives, having the people around who are just dead weight. You can't afford it. If they're dead weight, brother, you have to move forward away from them, because they will weigh you down. They will bog down your success. I promise you they will. And y'all know I ain't making this up. The number 6 mentally disturbing reason that we force bad relationships that negatively impact our lives is we surround ourselves with people who have no sense of direction. but they live in a delusional world where they think they do. You know, those people who jump off the porch, they do a lot of things. You know, they jump out the porch and do this, then they die, then they don't do that. Then they jump out the porch and do that, then no, they don't do that. Then they jump out the porch and do that, then no, they don't do that. Then they jump out the porch and do that, no, they don't. Then in the course of a year, they be to try 10 different things and then stick either one of them out long enough to make them work. But then when you try to give them advice or offer them some insight that you have because you've already gone through what they're going through, they talk to you as if you don't know nothing. They talk to you as if I know what I want to do with my life. I already got it under control. I don't need no help. I don't need nobody to assist me on that. I got it under control. You just watch me go. And you already been watching them go for a while. And they ain't going nowhere. If you're in a relationship of any kind with a person like that, you're forcing that relationship. So here's what I want y'all to understand. When I say forced relationships, I'm not saying you're beating yourself across the head trying to figure out how to make this relationship work. I'm saying if you're in a relationship with someone like this, by default, you're forcing a relationship because they have nothing to contribute to it. If you're in a relationship with anyone who has nothing to contribute to it, you're forcing the relationship in your life because they haven't even bought into it. They're not even trying. They're just hanging out. You got to hook in them. You got to hook in them like a fish. You know, they're not contributing anything to the growth of any type of relationship. And so you got to understand, man, that these people who have no sense of direction but think they do, they're forever lost. Let me tell y'all something. I want y'all to understand this, and I want you to think about all the people you know. Anybody who isn't humble enough to know they don't know what they're doing, they don't know where they're going, they need some guidance, they're always going to fizzle out in life. Look at all the people around you you know who are like that. And tell me when the last time they did anything that elevated their lives. If you've been knowing them for 5 years, 10 years, all of that, tell me when the last thing they did anything to elevate their lives. And I ain't talking about going out buying a new car and then like that. That don't elevate your life. That's a detriment to your life. That's an expense that you spent all those thousands of dollars on a depreciating asset. You lost money on it as soon as you bought it, especially if it was new. And most people who live like that, they go out and buy new cars, right? Because a new car makes you feel a sense of accomplishment when you really haven't accomplished anything. That's why people stay in dead end jobs that they absolutely hate. Why? Because they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to begin. You think about people who they have this business idea and then they start the business off and then it just fizzled out. Why? Because once they started, the excitement goes away because the work comes. And if the work comes, they're either unmotivated, they lack knowledge, they lack they lack the desire, they lack the hustle, or they think they have a sense of direction, but they don't, so they're not willing to ask anybody for guidance. You got to be willing to ask people for guidance, bro. Listen, it's as simple as this. Put a one in the chat and tell me when the last time you've been going to something, you've been traveling and you get to a point and you don't know where you are. You don't know where you are. And you just keep riding around like a fool instead of asking someone for directions. You know, and it's not like you're just absolutely lost, but you're in the area you're supposed to be in. You're following the map, or you're following your map instructions, and it's telling you that the place should be right here, but it's not. And you keep circling around, and these people looking at you, they see you circling around, but there's a gas station right there. Wouldn't you stop and go in there and ask those people where this place is? Of course you would. But think about the people who wouldn't. Think about the people who live a life and they won't simply ask someone. We're talking about directions to a specific place. What about your life? What about in your life? You're lost. You know you should be where you want to be. Like you're supposed to be somewhere, but you're not there yet. You have to avoid those people. You're forcing relationships with those people. When you have knowledge to give someone and they won't receive it, hey man, listen, you feed them with a long handled spoon. You can't have people around you close to you because as a person that's about life and building life and improving people's life along with your own, you're going to take some responsibility for those people around you who won't take your instructions. So I'll take some responsibility for you if you take my instruction and it doesn't work out. But if you don't, I don't care what happens. You can't come to me and say, well, I did this. I know you told me to do this, but I did this. Now I need this amount of money. Can you give me this? No, I can't because I already told you what to do. I already told you not to do that thing. So when you go do it, that's pretty much you telling me, man, I don't want to listen to you. Who are you? I ain't got to listen to you. I don't even like you. Why am I listening to you? You ain't nobody. Okay, fine. I'm nobody. Well, if I'm nobody, let me extricate myself from this relationship that I've been forcing in my own life anyway. The number 7 reason that we, and this is a really mentally disturbed reason that we force relationships that negatively impact our lives. We allow people to convince us that we owe them something. We surround ourselves with people who think someone owes them something. And let me tell you, if you allow people who think someone owes them something to be around you, they're going to think you owe them. Because people who think someone owes them, they think everyone owes them. So they have a mindset where they're just coming to get what they can. That's all. They're coming to get what they can. They don't care what they got to do to get it. They just want what they can. Give me what I came for. That's all they think about. And I'm telling you right now, having those people in your life is one of the most toxic circumstances you can exist in, because when people think someone owes them something, they never give anything. They never give anything. It's like expecting the bank to give you a loan when you already owe them 100,000. You owe them 100,000. It's been 1 month. You ain't even made the first payment yet. You go back and ask for another 100,000. Why would you think that's going to happen? But that's the mindset of people who think someone owes them something. Now, if you're a parent and you have children, yes, you owe your children, provision and protection. You owe them that while they're young. Everything you do when they're adults is out of the kindness of your heart. And we put ourselves in situations where we allow people to press us that we owe them. Well, you owe me this. Listen, if something happened in the past between us, you may feel like I owe you, but I don't, because nothing can be done. If nothing can be done to fix the past is gone. Even with relationships where people feel like you owe them, I don't owe you. We can start from now. We can start from now and put forth our best effort to build from here. But when you think about it, especially when it comes to any relationship that you've had with a female in your life, whether it's your mom or your sister or your daughter or your ex-wife or your girlfriend or whatever, what they don't understand is they are going to have to get the ball rolling with the emotional stuff. We don't know how. So a relationship will be sour. Let's say it could be you and your daughter. Let's say you and your daughter have a sour relationship from when she was younger. She will think that you're supposed to put forth all this emotional effort because you're the one who, you were the parent, she was the child, all of that. On the surface, that's logical. It sounds logical. But as a man, I don't have the emotional capacity as a man to initiate all of that emotional stuff. She has to initiate it. Once she initiates it, then you can take over from there, but you can never be the initiator of the emotionality. We're not wired like that. Even those of us who think we do, it's not real emotion. It's forced emotion. It's this version of emotion that happens by default when you suppress your logic. When you suppress your logical understanding of a situation, all you have left is emotion. Your body goes into emotionality by default. You know what I'm saying? We either function on logic or emotion. And when you suppress your own logic, then emotionality takes over. And it's a twisted kind of emotionality that it can't lead you. It can only, be destructive, and it doesn't have a purpose and all of that. So we have to understand that when someone tells you you owe them, they're speaking from their own perspective, and you can't change their mind. If someone thinks you owe them, you can never change their mind. So if you don't believe you owe them and you're dealing with them anyway, you're forcing a relationship into your life that doesn't fit. It's a relationship that can only affect you negatively, because here's the thing that always happens. It's like charging interest. When you get a loan from the bank, they charge you interest. When someone feels like you owe them something, they charge you interest. So whatever that is that they feel like you need to compensate them for, they always want extra. No one just wants to get what it is that they feel like they didn't have. They want, oh, you owe me more now because it's been so long, or you owe me this now because you did this too. Man, I don't want to hear that. Avoid those types of relationships because they are so draining that you'll never recover from them. I don't deal with people who think someone owes them something. You know what I mean? I just don't interact with people like that because they become a burden in your life. They become a burden in your life. Before you know it, you're tied into trying to help them get something from somebody, and the person don't even owe them that. You know what I mean? Or you're dealing with the fallout of the emptiness that they feel from not getting what they feel like they deserve from that person. You know, one of the main problems, the reason why I titled this 10 mentally disturbing reasons we force bad relationships that negatively impact our lives, because a lot of these situations are because people are mentally disturbed. Like, people have mental issues, emotional issues, especially in a society where we're in a dog eat dog world and we're in a rat race like this. Some people, man, you got to think about it, man. Some people have been working their entire lives, man, and they still just barely making ends meet. They still robbing Peter to pay Paul, man. They still living check to check. And listen, there are people who live check to check because they waste money, and there are other people who live check to check because they just don't make no money. And you got to think about that. And take a moment right now to thank the Most High if you do make enough money where you don't have to live check to check. And if you do make enough money to not live check to check, but you're still living check to check, break some of those habits, man. Get out of those habits. You know what I'm saying? And I'll concoct something, man, for this week. You know, telling y'all, man, top seven. I maybe do seven. Top 7 ways to overcome bad habits. Now, might well do top 10. We'll do top 10 ways to overcome bad habits. Now, the number 8 reason that we force these the number 8 mentally disturbing reason that we force these bad relationships that negatively affect our lives is what I just stated. People have emotional or psychological issues, but not only are they not healed, they don't have any desire to heal, because either they don't believe they have an issue and they're blaming everyone else for their issues. It's when they're not me, it's you. Everybody that I ever been around was this way right here. This is always them. I just keep coming across all the wrong people. I'm such a good person. That type of person. Or they just don't have a desire to heal. They just accept that this is who they are. If you want to be around them, you got to deal with this. You got to accept this. This is just what it is. And either of those people are going to be toxic. It's going to be a toxic relationship to have in your life. You know what I mean? It's going to be a toxic situation for you. You know, when you think about it, you'll find yourself in one of these situations with someone who has these issues, and you'll be so tied up in it and so caught up in being their soft landing spot, and so caught up in being their emotional sponge, and so caught up in sympathizing with their problems. Before you know it, their problems literally mentally become your problems. So you go from being sympathetic to empathetic because you've been dealing with their issues for so long, you start to feel them. You start to live like someone who's had those issues as well, even though you didn't have them before you met this person. Man, listen, that energy will transition into your life, and you'll become a part of their problem, and you won't be able to extract yourself from the grips of that situation that is causing you to experience turmoil that you never even had the experiences, the turmoil. You're just sharing their turmoil. And that relationship gets to the point where it's not even forced anymore. You just can't get out of it. You can't get out of it. And I'm telling you, people who haven't healed themselves are people you should avoid. And let me tell you something now. Healing yourself doesn't mean that, that you've totally forgotten about everything you've gone through. Healing yourself means it doesn't affect your life in a negative manner. So that's why we talk about cutoff game. Hey, man, somebody who's done things in the past in your life, man, that you got to cut them off. See, a lot of time we keep forcing ourselves to deal with people who have wronged us. That's one of the worst relationships you could be in, to be forcing yourself to deal with people who wronged you. Like, if you were a child and something happened to you and family trying to force you to be around someone who did something foul, man, that's toxic. So before you know it, you end up having to just telling people, hey, listen, I'm not dealing with that person right there at all. So they have to make a choice. If they want that person to be at an event, that person going to be there, you're not. If they want you at an event, they can't invite that person. You know what I mean? That's just how you have to do it. Yes, people are going to say, well, you're not over it yet. Well, getting over it doesn't mean that I can look at someone who did something and be like, we're brothers, we're happy and we're singing and no, we're not doing that. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. That's not healing. Healing is having the wherewithal to know the moves you need to make to not be affected by something in a negative manner. So when people say, I'm going to see a doctor and I'm doing that for 20 years, why? Because it takes a lifetime. You never, if when you get counseling, you never don't need counseling. Like you never stop needing it because they're trying to get you to get completely over something that you'll never get over. The effects are there. You have to make adjustments in your life to ward off any negative effects of it. But trying to figure it out and get over it to where it's not even a thought in your head anymore doesn't make sense. I don't even play those games. That's something I'm never going to try to do. Right. All right. The number 9 mentally disturbing reason that we force negative relationships that impact our life in a terrible way is we invite people into our lives who have no flatline moral standard. I want you to think about someone who doesn't have a flatline moral standard. Well, they don't even have, when I say flatline moral standard, I mean there's no level they can drop to that's too low. You know, when you're watching that monitor go up, doot, 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 then the flatline, that's what I mean. You saw I had to get it together at first. I kind of beeping wrong. But when it flatline, that's the bottom. That's it. It falls there. It doesn't go any lower. From there, it only goes higher. Most people don't have a flatline moral standard or flatline moral code. And so you know what happens with people who don't have a flatline moral code? They can't fathom that they're untrustworthy. You can't trust people who have no moral standard because we're humans. We all make mistakes. What if I make a mistake and leave some money out? People have no moral standard. They'll steal that money, or they'll see you drop some money and they'll pick it up and put it in their pocket. That's the very reason why my exposure to people from the hood is limited, very limited. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of people who know me, but there's only 2 or 3 people that have access to me. So if you want to have access to me for anything, for an event, for anything, you got to go through these people because you can't get to me directly. You can't email me, you can't text me, you can't DM me. You can't access me unless you access me through these people. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about a personal appearance or something like that, you just can't do it. Why? Because I know that there's a lack of moral standard. And listen, I've been in that environment. I had to compromise some moral standard a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit I did because you can't navigate that environment if you don't. You got to stay away from it. So I was able to kind of stick to code a little bit, but just because I stayed by myself so much. You know what I mean? When I showed up to an event, it was an event. Look, when I showed up to an event, it was an event that I showed up. I don't never show up. I have better things to do. Even now to this day, if I show up at an event, man, it's an event. You know, if I show up to somebody's podcast, man, it's an event because I don't show up to nobody's podcast. I don't do nothing. I be chilling, dog. I live my life the way that I've always dreamt of living it. You know what I'm saying? Low key, laid back, doing fly things that I like to do, and not making a big announcement about it, and not making no noise about it because it's my private life. My dream has always been to be public but live a private life. You know what I'm saying? Have a public persona but live a private life. That's my goal, and I do that. But I say that to tell you this: I've learned over the years that when people don't have a moral standard, it doesn't matter what their relation is to you. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship you have. They still don't have that moral standard. And it's not like they're going to have it for you. They just don't have it. You can't adjust who you don't have a moral standard for. If you don't have a moral code, it applies to everyone around you. You know what I mean? It applies to everyone around you. And the people around you, they may not have been affected by it, but it's because you haven't hit that spot. You could be around somebody who got money, man, but they lack moral fiber and they go broke. Man, you better watch them. They're not the same person broke that they were when they had paper. Now our lives change, but I mean at the core of a person, at the core of their being, they're not the same person that they were when they had money. And I just avoid those people, man, because those people they're one of the most toxic groups you can ever put yourself around, man. Those people are not right, brother. They are not right. The number 10 mentally disturbing reason we force bad relationships that negatively impact our lives is most people have no spiritual connection to the Most High, so they can't conceive the fact that we put God first in everything we do. They can't even conceive that putting God first is a thing. Why? Because they put themselves first before everything. They put themselves first before God, they put themselves first, bruh. Listen, man, they'll turn around, they'll betray God in a minute for any little thing that they think they want. Now, none of us is perfect. All of us have our crosses to bear. We have our things that we struggle with, but the majority of these people, bro, they have no spiritual connection to the Most High. They just say, "Well, ain't no God." And instead of trying to find out what a true relationship with God is, they just say, "Man, they're religious, man. All that mystery stuff, that stuff ain't nothing but magic, man. I ain't finna deal with no fairy tale fantasy, man. I ain't gonna do that." They just say that, but that's cool. I'm not telling you try to change anybody. I'm saying you make sure you protect your life from those people, because one of the most toxic relationships you can have is to willingly have a relationship with someone who's absolutely dedicated to being ungodly. Because if you're in a relationship with them, when things come tumbling down, they're not going to avoid you, because you should be avoiding them. God gives us insight. He gives us wisdom, understanding, knowledge. He gives us the gift of discernment to be able to discern and determine if these people should be in our lives. Listen, there are opportunities that you turn down. There are opportunities that I've turned down to to increase my fame, increase my popularity, increase my money and everything. I turn them down because the essence of the person is not the type of energy I want to be around. All money ain't good money. As a matter of fact, most money is bad money. So, because most people are bad people, and that's just a reality we have to live in. Most people don't want to have a moral fiber. Most people don't want to have a spiritual connection to the Most High, because it comes with being convicted for your actions. And people don't want to be convicted for their actions. We live in a world where people say, "Hey, let everybody be what they want to be. Why is it a concern of yours? Why do you care what they are? Why do you care what they do? Why do you care who they love? Why do you care who they rob? Why do you care who?" That's the world we live in. We live in that society here in the West, brothers. And we have to understand that you got to protect yourself from relationships with people who don't think anything is wrong with anything, who think everything is open for somebody to do and nobody should be judged about anything. When someone tells me, "Man, who are you to judge? You let God be the judge. You can't judge me," I avoid those people instantly. Because if you feel like you can't be judged, you don't judge yourself. And if you don't judge yourself, you can't be trusted to do anything morally sound or spiritually astute. You'll do anything you have to, anything you want to at any time. You can't trust those people, man. You can't trust those people, man. Listen, man, listen. Those people rob you blind, then loan you money and charge you interest. You understand me? Those people will rob you and then loan you money and charge you interest after they already rob you. You know what I mean? So we got to keep in mind, brothers, that when people don't have that relationship with the Most High, bro, that's an instant cutoff. Instant cutoff. You are asking for trouble in your life. Asking for trouble in your life. And you're going to get it. If you want that trouble, you're going to get that trouble. Let those people in your life and see what happens. The number 11 mentally disturbing reason we force bad relationships that negatively impact our lives is because when we elevate through life, we get to a crossroad, especially when you elevate at a steady pace. You get to a crossroad and realize just how tough it is. Just how tough it is to get used to leaving people behind. So we try to find something for them to do, find some way for them to have value. Man, we'll put somebody through school or something just so they can have value to us, bro. Just so they can have value. Because leaving people behind is one of the things that many of us just find difficult to do. Many of us can attest that one of the hardest things we ever have to do is leave people behind. And that's just a part of growth. Leaving people behind is a part of growth. If you're steadily growing through life and elevating your plight in life, you're going to leave people behind. But many of us, we'd rather find a way to make those relationships work rather than just leave people behind. We'll just go. We'll figure out something. And a lot of times you add that to your life, It's toxic from day one because you're forcing someone to do something that they really didn't want to do, because if they really wanted to do it, they would have done it. So if you got to force a way for people to be beneficial to your life, bro, they're not meant to be in it. They're not meant to be in it. And the number 12 reason is going to tell you what you should understand. The number 12, mental disturbing reason we force bad relationships that negatively impact our lives, is we don't accept when God removes people who don't fit a specific position in our lives. We try to hold on to them. God is removing them. God is giving us everything we do to everything we need to remove them. We start compromising our standards. We start compromising our demands. We start compromising our requirements. We start compromising our pet peeves. We start compromising all types of things that we should be standing firm on, because we don't want to let God pull those people out of our lives. And here's what happens. You hold on to them long enough and fight against God long enough, he going to let them go and leave them right in your life and let them destroy whatever they're going to destroy. Let you bond with them and connect with them because you seem to want them in your life so badly. You could bond with them and connect with them and go ahead and be who you want to be and do what you want to do. There you go. You got them. Go ahead and build the life you want with them. Build that toxic circumstance that you want to have with this person that God is trying to remove from your life. Because let me tell you something. When God is trying to remove someone from your life, he is trying to save you from turmoil, from stress, from heartache, from heartbreak, from all type of negative things. And you won't let him. You won't let him. And so when you don't let him, you deserve what you get. Now, let's do a quick recap. The top 12 mentally disturbing reasons we force bad relationships that negatively affect our lives. Number 1, people want too much. They want too much love. They want too much support. They want too much sympathy, etc. Number 2, they give too little. They give too little appreciation, respect, honesty, dedication, whatever other list of things you want to name. People give too little of everything because they want too much. And people who want too much never give enough, if anything. Number 3, they always have an ulterior motive. These are the people we let into our lives. They always have an ulterior motive. Number 4, their hatred for success doesn't show up until you come up. You don't know they hate success because you ain't had none. Then when you have some, it rears its head. You realize, man, this dude a hater. They turn into haters, man. You realize. But by then you caught up. And so you have an emotional attachment, emotional connection, or you value their presence, so you force the relationship. Number 5, they're unmotivated and exist solely to coat ride. Now, here's the thing about somebody riding your coattail. You don't know they riding your coattail because they only ride your coattail when you're going forward. When you stop, they still there. So you're looking around. I mean, you see they got some information or some they can tell you because they've been there for the whole ride, but you don't understand that when you're doing the work, they just hanging on to the coattail. They'll talk about it with you and they'll be about it with you and they'll praise the ideas and they'll sing and they'll motivate. But when you take off going forward, they're just hanging on. Whee! They're just hanging on. Number 6, they have no sense of direction but live in a delusional world where they do. People who don't have a sense of direction are not going to follow you. So you got this pull. You going forward, but something just keep pulling you to the side. Like, think about this. Think about like let's say you're in an intimate relationship, like you got a wife or a girlfriend, and every time you working and grinding, you got to argue about something. You got to get into it about something that has nothing to do with work, has nothing to do with the grind, but it pull your mind away from the grind. And then you waste that time that you never get back. Number 7, they think someone owes them something and will extract whatever they can from whoever. And in this situation, they'll extract whatever they can from you because they feel like someone owes them. See, when people feel like someone owes them something, they don't know who owed it. They don't know who owes them. They don't know who owed. They don't know who owes them. Like, who owes you? I don't know. You don't. Wait a minute. Wait. How do you not know who owes you? They don't know. And so you don't know who owes you, but you feel like you owed something. You just take from wherever you can get it from. And it's going to be you because you're going to trust them too much and put them in a situation where they can extract resources from you, whether it's mental, emotional, financial, spiritual resources, they're going to extract physical resources as well. Number 8, They have emotional and or psychological issues without any desire to heal. They don't want to heal. They don't think they need to heal. They think everybody should just deal with it. They think they had a right to feel. I should feel this way. I had a right to feel this way because I went through this when I was 8 years old. Now I'm 88 years old and I still, nope. That's not how it goes. But you invite those people into your life, they're going to drain you. Number 9, they have no flatline moral standard and can't be trusted in case of a rare mistake on your part. You make a mistake and slip up, these people are waiting for it. They're waiting to pounce on your mistakes. Now, they present themselves as friends, but they're waiting to pounce on your mistakes. There are many people in prison right now because their quote-unquote friend snitched on them the first opportunity that they got. Or their quote-unquote group of friends turned on them when they were the one who didn't have anything to do with it. But the other 2 or 3 people turned on them. Now they're in prison doing more time than the people who actually committed the crime. That's because you allow these people to get in your life who have no flatline moral standard when you do. Now, if you don't have a flatline moral standard either, you deserve those people. But if you have a moral standard and you exist with moral fiber and you have a high spiritual astuteness, then you deserve to be around people who share in those qualities. But your circle is going to be small. The problem is you're trying to have a circle that's too big. Number 10, they have no spiritual connection to the Most High, so can't conceive that putting God first is even a thing. If you don't put God first, you can't be around me. Period. If you can't put God first, this relationship is in a hearse. Go bury it. It's dead. You got to be able to do that. Because if they can't put God first, then you know for a fact that whatever they do has no intent on helping anyone but themselves. They're selfish. Number 11, when you elevate through life at a steady pace, you get used to leaving people behind, but you can't do it. That's why you hold on to the relationship, because you can't leave people. Oh man, I'm tired of leaving people behind, man. I like these people. But here's the wonderful thing about elevating at a steady pace. You don't stay on any level long enough to get too attached to people. So the people that's still with you from level 1 that was on level 5, that's it. 9 times out of 10, if you're elevating through life steadily, the people who have the people who go back with you go all the way back to level 1. Like you ain't pick up no stragglers on level 3. If you're on level 6, you ain't pick up no stragglers on level 4. You're moving through too fast. You got your team, you're moving through too fast. Everybody who gets added to the team is a contributor. They contributed. They're not just people that, that have been there from day one. And so there's a loyalty to them. Because let me tell you something, you don't owe people who've been there from day one any loyalty if they don't benefit the situation. Now, you may owe them some compensation, but I'm quite sure they've been getting compensated along the way. But moving forward in life, man, it's about who's benefiting the process or your progress. And number 12, God removes people who don't fit a specific position in your life, but you keep hold on to them. You hold on like in Vogue. You never let go. You're like Wayne Wonder. No letting go, no holding back. That's how you are. You just hold on. And I want y'all to understand something. This is your life. And you have to not allow these mentally disturbing reasons that we force bad relationships that negatively impact our lives to continue to affect your life in a negative manner. All right, people, I appreciate y'all being in the joint, man. I appreciate it. Everybody been in the joint. Good hour-long piece of content, man. I appreciate it. It's been real, man. It's been real. Look, y'all put God first. Keep grinding and growing. Famo, salute. Peace.